We're back with the Week 3 edition here of the BUlldog Blitz. I'm Garrett Mathangani, joined in by the head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. And the Anniston Bulldogs lost 36-0 to Cherokee County at home. First off, Coach, just your general thoughts about the game, the way the game played out, the way the Warriors played, and the way you guys were.
Well, they're a tough ball team. They played pretty tough, and they just kind of took it to us, and we never really could get anything going out there. So, just a tough ball game.
Usually in situations like this, we see this a little bit in the NFL and maybe sometimes in college where after just a off performance, whatever it is, they'll just either literally bury the football and just get away with the week or take away some positives. What's the things that you gleaned from this week moving forward?
Well, we played hard. We fought to the end, but, we just, trying to sit down and think of some ideas or some ways to kind of get that passion back. We really hadn't played with the fire that we had in the first game, and just trying to find ways to get that fire back, get that enthusiasm back into the guys.
Absolutely. Are there certain things, whether it's the first half or second half, that you saw on film that give you some confidence and hope? Because it seems like really you could point to about 10 to maybe 30 different plays all year long where if we just have this amount of consistency year round, it's a different story.
Well, we had a couple of situations where we drove the ball down inside the red zone, but, again, we just couldn't punch the ball in. And then defensively, we had situations where basically Cherokee County narrowed it down to about 3 plays, and we knew what they were running, but we kept getting out of our gaps, and, just basically we wasn't playing down here and playing on their side of the line of scrimmage. So, situations like that we got to fix.
Absolutely. Cherokee County was one of the teams heading into this year that was one of the favorites to take the region. How did they look to you whenever you saw them first, when they first lined up Friday night, and then your impressions of them afterwards?
Well, they got a well-disciplined ball team, and, they got a couple of key guys, we were pretty much worried about receivers. They got one receiver, but it really didn't hurt us a whole lot. The quarterback and the running back were pretty good guys, and especially the running back. I was very, very impressed with the running back, and, they pretty much led the team like they should, and, they came out with a win. They did the things they needed to do.
Absolutely. Talk about what are some of the things that you want to see your team improve on as you move forward, judging on just Friday night's performance.
Well, just leadership. We need to have some guys, we got some seniors that can be key guys, and we need some seniors that just can step up. Especially when you face adversity, it's very easy to follow along, as things are going pretty smooth. But, when you face adversity, that's when you really find out who your leaders are and who your tough guys are. And we basically need some guys that play with, show a little emotion, that, play with some emotion and just step up, in adverse times.
Absolutely. We will dive deep right into the highlights here on the BUlldog Blitz of Cherokee County and Anniston. We'll also look ahead to next week as the Anniston Bulldogs face another region opponent. All that and more is next right here on the BUlldog Blitz on TV 24.
The Warriors are here.
We're back here on the BUlldog Blitz. First half highlights of Anniston's game against Cherokee County. This game was at home. Coach, your impressions of the way the first half rolled out?
Well, they won the toss and they elected to receive the football. And right here, we basically didn't get good coverage. You can see here we had a couple of situations where we got good coverage on the quarterback. We had gap integrity. And, we had some situations where we had 1 or 2 plays that, we may do well on, but then we couldn't put it together for series. We were missing assignment, or, we would miss something, and, we just couldn't put it together. And that's due to experience, and those guys are, being a little bit more technique sound than we were. Right here, you see we had an opportunity to tackle the quarterback for a loss, but, we missed him. This little running back here was the guy we had a lot of trouble with. He was quicker than we thought he was, and he was very elusive. He's a very good back. He kind of hurt us all night. He made some runs. You can see right here where he made a cut back, and it was just tough to contain him if you didn't maintain the proper leverage and, stay in your gaps. And of course, quarterback here, kind of finished us off here. He ran a little bit high. We were able to force a turnover right here, but we turned around on the turnover and we got a safety. So, it kind of hurt us in the end right here. You can see we got a safety. So, we forced a turnover, but it didn't work out in our favor. And we came back here and they put together another drive. And right here you can see the running back. We gang tackling and we fighting hard, but we just, just can't quite put it together here. Right here you can see defensively, we had a gap that was uncovered. And, intended push it in on us, and they ended up putting a series of plays together and scoring on us right here. Thought we had an opportunity to hold them out, and of course here we went back to the quick game. We tried to spread them out because we knew they were going to load the box on us, and we ran a screen pass right here, but quarterback made an errant throw, and basically they intercepted the ball, and they came back in and scored a touchdown on us here, I believe it. And they just kept doing the things that they needed to do to capitalize on the mistakes that we made, but we couldn't quite capitalize on the mistakes that they made. Of course, here you can see we threw a screen pass to L.J. Hurd, and he made a great run. He broke several tackles here, and of course, we ended up getting this play called back for illegal formation. We didn't have enough guys on the line of scrimmage, and they turned back around and threw a quick screen pass, basically the same type pass we played, but they got a great gain on it. And of course, the running back here again, you can see it's pretty tough to bring down. And of course, we played pretty solid defense here, but again, we kind of got out our gap integrity, and they were able to punch the ball in the end zone again.
17-0 was your score at halftime. Coach, it seemed to me that the red zone defense, there was opportunities there, and there was chances, and there was a lot of times, and this is the second straight week where this has happened, where the red zone defense looked really strong.
Well, we actually show flashes of what we're capable of doing, but what we need to do is be able to put that together, throughout an entire series. If we can do that earlier in our field position, it would be better for the offense, but we tend to bow up a little bit when they get down in the red zone, and we're trying to get that mentality into the guys throughout the whole, series.
Right. Usually at this point in the show, we always talk about the adjustments. Was there anything Cherokee County ran that was different than what you expected, or is it about what you saw on film?
Well, basically what we've seen on film. They use a trips type formation a lot, which they use that very little, but, when something is working, you tend to stick with it. So basically we went in and just drew it up on the board to show the guys that, they were basically using one formation, but they were using cutback lanes. They were either kicking out or using cutback lanes to have big gainers, and we had to stay in our gaps, and we just had a few guys that were not staying in the gaps.
Right. Whenever you were watching film on them earlier, did you watch any of what you saw 2 years ago against them, and was that any of the same situations?
Yes, we actually watched both games that we played actually 4 years ago when we played them, and we actually watched both games, and we took away some of the things that we did because basically, they ran the same things that they ran back then. So, it was not a whole lot of change, just different athletes. They had much better athletes this time than they had in the past.
Absolutely. 17-0 was your score at halftime. We'll check a look at second half highlights, and we'll also look ahead to week 4, another interesting matchup with an inter-county team for the Anderson Bulldogs. That is it for the first half. The band put on a great performance here in week 3 at home. You'll hear them going to break, and we're back with second half highlights here on the BUlldog Blitz. We're back here on the BUlldog Blitz second half highlights. Coach, show me your impressions here with the third quarter with you guys getting the ball first.
Well, we received the ball first. Had an opportunity to get a pretty good return, but we made a wrong cut here, and right here you can see we hit Jamari West on a quick slant and got pretty good yardage out of it. We got it down inside the 15-yard line, and we had a couple of blown assignments right here. We had a situation where we had a pass call to the tight end, and we actually threw it to the wrong guy and didn't capitalize on it. We had 4 downs, and of course they came back right here, and we got out our gaps again, and they got in one play they were out of the red zone on us, and we just couldn't quite get it right. And in 2 passes they were down inside the 20 on us in the red zone, and of course they punched the ball right in. So just total field position just flipped in 3 plays on us, and of course we had 3 and out again, and we came back right here, and you can see we were swarming to the football. We showed a pretty good fight on us, but right here we had a situation where safety Brashard Harris came over and made a great play. The cornerback got out of position. He was watching the football and not backpedaling. We were in 3 deep zone, and he was supposed to not let anybody get behind him, but of course, we let them put together a drive again, and they were able to score again. So we gave up 2 quick touchdowns in less than 3 minutes, and just putting it together. And right here, we had Jamari West on a seam pass, had a great game, but ball security, we didn't secure the ball, so we ended up fumbling the football and turning it back over to them. And of course, they put together a drive again, and it's just a fact of trying to stop them, trying to maintain them. But they did what good teams do. They took advantage of our mistakes, and they did what they needed to do.
36-0 is your final score from a lot Mosby Memorial Stadium. Coach, whenever you have games like this, the message to the team initially, what is that? What's the demeanor? Is it more let's find ourselves? Is it more let's recapture what we had in week 1? How do you handle moments like this?
Well, you basically have to analyze yourself first, and of course I tell them to keep them from pointing fingers, that basically it's my fault, that as a head coach I have to find a way to motivate them and to try to get that passion back, and which is basically what it is. You have to try to find a way to get the guys to buy into what you're trying to do, because we practice. I think we got a great practice schedule. I think we have a great game plan. But after Thursday, it all falls on the players. They have to go out on the field and perform. And if they don't, as a head coach, you got to find a way to try to recapture that passion back. And we're still in that process of trying to find a way to get them to just buy into the things that the coaches, which I asked them, just try it my way. We tried it several ways, just try it my way.
Right. Were there any players that stuck out to you, maybe some people who don't get as much recognition whenever you walk back and watch the film to see, hey, this guy had a pretty good game, or this guy had something he can build on for next week?
Well, offensively, L.J. Hurd, he's ran the ball hard all year for us, and he actually played a lot of defense too. We put him on defense because he's so aggressive, and he ran the ball tremendously well, and he also played outside linebacker well. And then, of course, defensively, I got my safety back, Brashard Harris. He was out the previous week with concussion, and so he came back, and he was a little tentative, but he played a great game. And then, of course, to just give my Mike linebacker, Quintavious Gordon, he sat out a year, and this is his first year back, and we're trying to get him acclimated back to, that linebacker mentality of coming down here. And he did a lot of the things that I wanted him to do, but, we still got a lot of things for him to be the defensive leader that he has improved on.
Right. Whenever you have games like this, do you tinker any with personnel where maybe just put a different player in a different position? I know we talked about some of the guys, but just different players, different positions, or is it more solidifying what you do where you are?
Well, it's a little bit of both. This particular week we had Tariq Woods. He played outside linebacker, but we ran a 4-man front. So, I moved him down to defensive end, whereas the previous 2 weeks he was playing outside linebacker. And you have to change it around. You have to try to do some things because you're still trying to find that one thing that makes them click. And we just haven't found it yet. The guys, they work hard during the week and they do the things that we ask them to do, but we still got to have that leader, that emotional leader that steps up and say, hey, look, we got to get this thing going right, because the coaches can't do it.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. Does now, do you sense the focus changing where it's not necessarily about winning a game, but it's about playing to a certain way that you played, especially at the beginning of the year?
Well, you have to reach that level again. I told the guys, I said, we basically in the same position we were last year. We lost to Mortimer Jordan and we lost to Hayden early, and we were able to get a win in the third round against Lincoln. But, basically we playing the #1 team in the conference right now. So, it's just an uphill battle, and we either got to bow up and get it or, keep making changes until we can find out what we need to do.
Does the opposition serve as motivation, whether it's a team like Cherokee County or a team like Jacksonville coming up a little bit later? Does the fact that these games are kind of rivalry games, does that help motivate the team?
Well, it does for me.
For sure.
Now, I can't speak for the kids, but
Right.
it does for me, and that's a point of emphasis to the kids, is that, if I'm playing the best, if I want to be the best, I got to beat the best,
Right.
and I'm always get up for that challenge. I don't rely on what I've done in the past or what other teams done in the past. It's about what you can do, and that's what I'm trying to capture as a coach. I'm trying to find out what can I say or what can I do that will allow them to give me 100% of their best. I mean, every game. And right now, we thought we had it against Sylacauga, and we came up a little bit short, and we just got to find it.
Right.
Got to find it.
When it comes to finding leaders like that, is that a situation where you might point out 2 or 3 guys that can galvanize the locker room, or do you have to just let that play out organically, so to
Well,
speak?
I think it just has to happen. I can assign leaders, just like I tell them about motivation. It's a tricky thing. I can do all the things extrinsically to motivate them. You can run them, you can have them do push-ups, you can do all of that. But until they find that intrinsic motivation, that's what's on the inside. Until
Right.
they find that, you'll never really reach your full potential, because they're only playing because they know that you're going to punish them for something, and that's not my style of coaching. My style of coaching is you got to want to be the best, and when you want to be the best, you'll do the best.
Absolutely. It's a good word from Coach, and more good games to come here in the future for the Anniston Bulldogs, especially coming up this upcoming Friday. We will dive into Anniston versus Jacksonville next here on the Bulldog Blitz. We're back here on the Bulldog Blitz. The Anniston Bulldogs, a big game this week, another big game inside the region. They'll take on Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 3-0, one of the teams that, like Cherokee County, one of the teams that at the beginning of the season, a lot of people thought that, hey, this is a team that can go and have a really good, strong season. 4-0, I make a correction there. Coach, what is some of your impressions of the Golden Eagles as we sit here? I know we haven't seen a lot of film as we shoot today, but some of your impressions of the Golden Eagles that you've seen so far.
Well, we actually got an opportunity to watch them in the spring game, and then watch them in 7-on-7 camp, and then watch a little bit during regular season. And total different team. The team they had in the spring doesn't even resemble the team now. And they got a pretty tough, balanced football team. Got a good line, good running backs. Good skilled people, and it's just, they got a tough team.
Absolutely. You've been in this situation before where your team is the team that is the top dog and comes into a game undefeated, and you know that every game that you go into, you'll get that team's best game. Right. Do you expect the same thing from your guys going into this week, knowing that they have that goose egg in the loss column and being that team to give them one?
Absolutely. Jacksonville. I don't expect a letdown from them, because anytime they play Anniston, normally we get the best regardless of what our record is. We could have a winning record or losing record. Normally when we play someone, we're going to get the best team, and it doubly complicates it because they actually good.
Right.
And
right.
So we have to go in and play our A game, and then we got to hope that they make some mistakes and we can capitalize on those mistakes.
This game is on the road, and typically your teams have been really strong on the road. Talk about the way that you handled this first road game.
Well, basically you just go into it like we do. You know, normally when I first started coaching, you know, we were pretty strong at home also, but, you know, in the past we just hadn't been that strong for some reason at home. So, you know, you just take it as another game. You know, it doesn't matter where you play the game at. It's just, you know, the product you put on the field, and we just basically going to try to put our best product out on the field.
It's always a situation where when you're on the road, you can almost block out all the distractions, and you just come out, you know, most of the crowd is going to be against you. It's just that comes with the road atmosphere. What is it about locking in there as a road team, wearing those white uniforms, being able to go out in somebody else's field?
Well, I thought that in the past, you know, and I tried to convince myself of that, but I'm of the belief now that really it's just the mindset that you take into the game, whether you're on the road or at home. You got to be focused on the things that you need to do. And, you know, I'm very good at blocking out anything because, you know, I don't let any distractions come between me and the game. And you just have to be focused on what you need to do, you know, to win that game, you know, and be technique sound, and at the end evaluate, you know, what you did.
When you were in 5A, you had to go on the road and face teams like Mortimer Jordan, way out there, Hayden, way out there, Springville and Moody. What changes, if anything, whenever you play a game that's on the road, but it's just down Highway 21?
Well, just time and the preparation. It's a shorter distance, and, you know, I'm glad for that because, you know, previously you have to plan your feeding of the kids, your travel time, you know, you have to put in for, you know, running into traffic and things like that. And then, of course, some of the schools we hadn't been to, so, you know, you have to make sure that you got enough time where you don't get lost. And but the teams that we play at now, it's just a shorter distance, and you just got to, you know, it shortens the time down, but it actually gives you more time at your place for prep, you know, to kind of talk to them and clean up any last-minute details.
Absolutely. We'll dive a little bit more into Jacksonville's game in just a bit, but first let's take a look at the big picture with the region standings. Absolutely nobody's into the playoffs and nobody's out of the playoffs just yet, but what are some of your impressions as you look here into the third region game?
Well, you know, we sitting on the bottom third of the region, and, you know, we just basically, you want to get a win. You don't care how you get it or when you get it, you just want to get a win. And, you know, the three teams up top are very tough teams, and, you know, after next Friday, we'll have one of them out the way. So basically, you know, things would look up for you, you know, based on what the schedules are, but, you know, and what the records are. But, you know, I basically just want to get that first win so we can, you know, kind of get this thing started in the right direction.
Right. As far as building momentum goes, does a game like this kind of almost sit in a really good spot where you can pull some games or pull some performances in week 1 and week 2 and even Friday night, and then put that together in a game like this one with one of the top teams that's in the region?
You can. I mean, anytime you can beat a team like Jacksonville, that's a great momentum builder. And, you know, basically we want to go in. We can't do anything about what happened in the past. All we can do is focus on this game that's coming up and try to keep the distractions out and try to recapture, again, what we did in game, you know, in week 1 against Sylacauga. Minus the mistakes. If we can eliminate the mistakes, then I think we could represent ourselves well, you know, because, you know, we very, very capable of beating Jacksonville. We just got to put it together.
Jacksonville was the leading vote getter in Class 4A as far as just outside of the top 10 polls. Let's just say they find themselves in the top 10 polls next week. Does that serve as any kind of motivation, knowing that they're one of the better teams in the state? It
should. I mean, it would for me. Anytime you can beat a top 10 team, you know, that's motivation for me. But again, I'm out of eligibility, so you know, I could be an impact player if I was out there, you know, because I know my mindset and how I think.
Right.
And I even do that with coaching the team. You know, when people say no, I say yes, and I simply, you know, I work that much hard, and I'm trying to get that same mentality into my guys that, you know, at some point you just got to reach down on the inside and say, hey, we're going to do this.
Absolutely. Final question. When you look at the film next week, if you can point to one thing that you want your team to improve on from Friday night's performance next week?
I just want us to be better tacklers. And there's several things. I want us to be better tacklers. And offensively, I want us to be better blockers. I want us to attack the defense, and on defense, I want us to attack the offense, and I just don't think we are always in attack mode on either side.
Thanks as always for your time, Coach. Good luck on Friday night. Jacksonville and Anniston over at Golden Eagle Stadium. Head out and support the Bulldogs, and we will have all the highlights and the recap right here on the Bulldog Blitz next week.